Rastafari, if I was to define Rastafari, it is a Pan-African movement. So Pan-Africanism or Pan-Africanist, I would define it is basically someone who believes in putting all the differences aside of African people, whether they're born on the diaspora or on the continent, and whether someone is from Nigeria, Gambia, Zambia, Ethiopia, is to put the differences aside for the common goals of African people, for the advancement of African people. Yeah, that's what I really the Pan-Africanist. Yeah, so Rastafari is a Pan-African movement, which has also got a sense of spirituality in it, and the spirituality side of things is it's a highly celestial aspect. But the main principles and philosophies of Rastafari is for the African people to acknowledge a king or divinity within themselves, in an African image, is to look to build a nation in Africa. Repatriation, now that's particularly important because Rastafari started in the diaspora, so a lot of the foundation of it, obviously in Jamaica, places like Jamaica, England, was to look towards repatriating as in coming back towards Africa. And the real reason why the Rastafari movement started was because the transatlantic slave trade, which took place, and Africans coming from West Africa and then being transported to places in the Caribbean, like Jamaica, but also being transported to Brazil. Brazil's got the most slaves out anywhere else that was transported from Africa. Brazil, America, and other parts of the Caribbean. Yeah, so Africans were taken from there and transported on slave ships to these places. And now, obviously, during the process of slavery, the African people had lost their religion, their culture, their identity, their heritage due to this process. So they was given, say, a new religion, a new language. They couldn't speak African no more. They lost all of their culture, traditions, and they started to adopt the culture and traditions of the Europeans, which was like the mass of the people that were obviously oppressing them, because there were people that were colonizing them. So during the time of slavery, obviously, I think everyone here knows pretty much what happened during slavery in depth, yeah? So I don't need to go too much in depth about slavery, but the importance here is, as I mentioned, of Africans losing their sense of identity. So even when slavery ended, yeah, particularly I want to use Jamaica now, even though slavery ended, the minds of the people in Jamaica were still very much in a colonial mindset, and even the remnants, if you go to Jamaica today, that what they think of Africa and what they think of African people. So the post-slavery period, black people in Jamaica had a very low self-esteem, and they looked to, for example, say England or Europe in high order, and they admired the Queen of England and the British values, but they looked at Africa in a very low light. So they looked at Africa as savage, people with mud huts, backwards, all of that, because that's what we taught to them during slavery. So also the condition of black people and African people in Jamaica at the time was very bad, because after slavery, the British people compensated the slave masters with £20 million, but the slaves on the plantation weren't compensated with anything. So what happened to the slaves on the plantation after the slavery ended, in about 1838, was that people had no homes and no places to go, so they were literally just thrown onto the street with no support. So people were struggling economically. They had to build themselves up. So there was economical problems. People were suffering poverty. There was also identity crisis as well with the people. So it was a really, really hard time. Now, what happened then after that period, or during that period, there was a rise in Pan-Africanism, where people that were trying to say that we need to start to look towards Africa, and as that's the place that we come from, and that we need to start reconnecting with African heritage, and that African black people, not just in the diaspora but in the world, are in a low position, but they need to come back up to where they used to be. So, for example, ancient civilizations in ancient Egypt or the Great Zimbabwe, and loads of different African civilizations which were prosperous. So one of the main Pan-African leaders at the time was Marcus Garvey, and Marcus Garvey, I'm not sure, has anyone heard of Marcus Garvey? Yeah. So Marcus Garvey is a prophet in Rastafari. So I'll explain why in a minute, but basically, mostly Marcus Garvey, he was very influential, particularly in the diaspora, but on the continent as well. But he was influential in the diaspora because he gathered millions of African people. He was born in Jamaica as well, Marcus Garvey. He was born in St. Anne, Jamaica, and Jamaica is actually his first national hero. But he's significant because he gathered millions of African people in the diaspora and some in the continent as well. Whether it's in America, England, the Caribbean, and he set up an organisation called the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Now, that organisation that had businesses, so it had steam laundry shops, it had a black gold factory, because at that time there wasn't black gold factories around, you only see like white gold factories, so it had black gold factories. He published his own newspaper, the Negro World newspaper, which came out every week. And they had different restaurants and various different businesses, tailor shops that they run, which had millions of people all over the world come together. So he was trying to get African people to come together and do for self, and say that, for example, we come from a strong people that we need to go back like that. And one of his favourite quotes is, Africans for the Africans at home, those at home and those abroad. And that's what he's saying, that regardless of where you're from, whether you're in the diaspora or on the continent, that you're still African, that just because they took us away out of Africa into places like Jamaica and Americas, you still have an African identity, which needs to be reclaimed. Marcus Garvey was very important in terms of, and I'll link him into the Rastafari movement, because he was the one who told people to look towards Africa for a black king to be crowned, and when that black king would be crowned, that he would be a redeemer. So when Emperor Haile Selassie was crowned, he was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia in 1930, he was the fulfillment of Marcus Garvey's prophecy. And in several statements, Marcus Garvey pointed towards Ethiopia, Africa, for black people to look towards. And I'm just going to read now one of the quotes that Marcus Garvey actually said, which is taken from the Philosophies and Opinions of... Has anyone read the Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey? Okay, a very, very, very important book. On page 44 of the book, The Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey stated that if the white man has the idea of a white God, let him worship his God as he desires. If the yellow man's God is of the race, let him worship his God as he sees fit. We as Negroes have found a new ideal. Whilst our God has no colour, yet it is human to see everything through one's own spectacles. And since the white people have seen their God through white spectacles, we have only now started out, late though it to see our God through our own spectacles. The God of Isaac and the God of Jacob, let him exist for the race that believes in the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. We Negroes believe in the God of Ethiopia, the everlasting God, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost, the one of all ages. This is the God in whom we believe, but we shall worship him through the spectacles of Ethiopia. And I'm going to state another quote from Garvey, from the selected speeches of Marcus Garvey, where he says, "The time has come for the Negro to forget and cast behind him his hero worship and admiration of other races, and to start immediately to create and emulate heroes of his own. We must canonize our own saints, create our own martyrs, and elevate the positions of fame and honor black men and women who have made distinct contributions to our racial history." So during that time in Jamaica, I said through slavery, the importance of Garvey highlighting that to look for Africans to look at African king is, particularly for those in the diaspora, they had been taught to worship this blonde-haired, blue-eyed white Christ. Yeah, and if you look at most Caribbean people's household, certainly like in the 40s and 50s, you would either have a white picture of Jesus on the wall, or you would have a picture of King George, yeah, which was the King of England, yeah. And what Garvey was trying to say, and what Rastafari was trying to say, that it's not about worshipping the King of England, or that we cannot look at other people, white people, Asian people. We have to look at African. If we're going to look at divinity, we've got to look at it within ourselves as African people, and that we need to start idolizing, or we need to start looking at our own heroes and acknowledging the works they do. And the significance then of Emperor Haile Selassie in 1930. And there's other statements as well that Garvey stated that he said that they should look towards Africa where a king will be crowned because your redeemer, there your redeemer is. So when Emperor Haile Selassie was crowned in 1930 in Ethiopia, that was very, very important. Ethiopia to this day is the only African country that's never been colonized. So to this point now, when Ethiopia was, Emperor Haile Selassie was Emperor of Ethiopia in 1930 and he was crowned. Now at that time, all the countries in Africa were colonized apart from Ethiopia and Liberia. But Liberia was a previous colony of USA. So the whole continent pretty much was under colonial rule, whether it's through the British, the French, the Belgians, it was under colonial rule. So what Haile Selassie represented was an African king who was the head of a monarchy in Africa. So he represented the symbolism of independence and freedom. And the importance for us in the diaspora of seeing that is when you go to school, for example, you don't learn about any black kings or queens. You always learn about, say, white kings. You always learn about the King George or this, that, and the other. So you don't teach you anything. Certainly, growing up in the Caribbean during colonial periods in the early 19th century, they were not being taught anything about black king. As I said, most people don't have, if anything, King George on the wall. Yeah. So the significance was at the time they not seen a black king or black emperor, let alone an emperor that was ruling an African country that was independent. So that was significant at that period. Now, in terms of Ethiopia now, in 1935, Ethiopia was invaded by the Italians. During this time, the Italians invaded Ethiopia. They bombed Ethiopia. They used mustard and tear gas, and around roughly 200,000 people in Ethiopia died. Now, the reason they did this is, as I said before, because Ethiopia hadn't been colonized. And everywhere, all the other European countries, they had like a slice of Africa. So Italy wanted their piece of the cake as well. So they wanted a piece of Italy. And Benito Mussolini, who was the prime minister of Italy, he wanted to create an ancient Rome. Rome used to be a very powerful nation, so he wanted to create a nation of Rome. But he wanted to live in Ethiopia. So he chose that because it's never been colonized. So they went into Ethiopia. They bombed Ethiopia, and for about 5-6 years, Ethiopia was in a war with Italy. Now, the Italians had a big advantage. The main advantage that they had was the weaponry, because they had a lot more advanced guns and military bombs. With the Ethiopians, they didn't really have that. They had more swords and not really weaponry that could meet up with them. The only weaponry that they got that was probably very good would be like the weaponry that they captured from the Italians. So. Also, the fact that the Italians invaded Ethiopians was a breach of the League of Nations. So the League of Nations was an organization set up. It's now called the United Nations, but the League of Nations is set up to protect basically for countries around the world to negotiate. And one of the things what was done in it was to protect countries from invading other countries. So if you're a member of the League of Nations, you cannot invade another country. So Italy and Ethiopia were both members of the League of Nations. However, Italy still breached the League of Nations rule by invading Ethiopia, because you can't invade a country that's part of the same organization. So Haile Selassie went to the League of Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, and he appealed to the League of Nations, and he said that, what's going on here? We're both part of this organization, and this nation, which is got more weaponry, this is invading my people, and what he's doing to the nation. Now, unfortunately, no one answered him. He asked for help. No one decided to help him. To make things worse, the British, and others, they said they wasn't going to issue out any weapons to Ethiopia. Now, Italy made their own weapons in Italy. So Italy, they produce their own guns, bombs, etc. Ethiopia doesn't produce their own weaponry like guns. So it basically was almost like a death sentence to Ethiopia, because they can't get any weapons from anywhere abroad, so they just got to fight with what they've got. Whereas the Italians were fine with that. So what Haile Selassie said was, if this happened to us today, tomorrow something's going to happen to you. Shortly after World War II happened, but what happened in that instance was Haile Haile Selassie then took refuge into England, so he went to Bath, England, I've been to Bath, England, and he stayed there while he was trying to seek help for his people in Ethiopia. Eventually, because of World War II, which I said which was like the first for World War II, World War II then took place, and is everyone familiar with World War II here? World War II?
Second World War.
Okay. Second World War. Second World War was a war that happened basically around the whole world. Some of the main countries involved with it were England, Germany, America and Japan. But to keep it very short, there was a war between England and Germany. Some people signed up with England, some people signed up with Germany, and they had war. Now, the Italians signed up with the German people. So what happened was because they teamed up with the German people, they then became the enemies of the English people. So as Haile Selassie was in England, he got help from the English people because they were the Italians were then his enemy. So the Italian, English army and the Ethiopians, they went back into Ethiopia, and when they went back into Ethiopia, they got the Italians out of the country. So the Ethiopians took back control of the country. So in 1941, Emperor Haile Selassie, they went back in the country, and Ethiopia it wasn't occupied, but it was. They took the country back. Now, during that time, there was a lot of modernization that needed to happen in Ethiopia because the war had literally killed a lot of the roads and damaged the roads, the buildings, etc. So Haile Selassie, he went forward and remodernized the country. So I'll speak about the modernization later, but I want to go now back into looking into the aspect of the Rastafari movement. Was in 1941, which was just after the Ethiopians got back control of the company. Now the founding fathers of the Rastafari movement, does anyone know the names of the founding fathers of the Rastafari movement? Okay, so the founding fathers of the Rastafari movement, Leonard Howell, Archibald Dunkley, Joseph Hibbert and Robert Hines. Now, this may come to a surprise to many of you, yeah, because the first thing that I said was, what do you mainly associate Rastafari with, yeah, and you said dreadlocks, yeah. Now, as you can probably see in this picture, Haile Selassie, he didn't have dreadlocks. Now, all the founding fathers of the Rastafari movement, yeah, didn't have dreadlocks. Yeah, the dreadlocks didn't come into the Rastafari movement until later down the line. So in the 1930s, 1940s, Rastafarians didn't have dreadlocks. Some of them had beards, but they didn't have dreadlocks. The dreadlocks came into the Rastafari movement in the mid-50s. And the reason they came into the mid-50s was that you had the Mau Mau warriors in Kenya that were fighting to get independence from the British. Yeah, and the Mau Mau warriors, they used to have their hair in dreadlocks. And they didn't cut their hair because they was fighting to get independence. Now, when the Jamaican people saw the image of the Mau Mau warriors, from these people, they copied that hairstyle from them, yeah? And that's where the dreadlocks come in. But even up until, say, in the 60s, it was common for a lot of Rastafarians not to have dreadlocks. So the phenomenon of the dreadlocks the dreadlocks came in the 50s, but it really rose firmly in the 70s. But that's a very important thing, because a lot of people think that all Rastafarians wear dreadlocks and they've got dreadlocks, but that's not the case. I mean, I'm a Rastafarian, I do not have dreadlocks. I used to have dreadlocks, but I don't have it now. And the founding fathers of the movement didn't have dreadlocks. So that's a very important thing that people don't know. Now, Leonard Howell was one of the founding fathers of the Rastafari movement I mentioned earlier. He built a land in Jamaica called Pinnacle, and that was 500 acres of land, and that was the most economically self-sufficient community in Jamaica. So it had about, say, 2,000 people on the land, and they grew their food, they lived in a community together, they went to the market and sold stuff. So it was like one big family in Pinnacle. That was very, 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 very prosperous at the time. The reason they set it up is because during that time in Jamaica, I said, even though slavery ended, they were still under the British colonial government, so they were still under British colonial rule. So the government in charge, the British colonial, was still oppressing the people in Jamaica, and there was a lack of opportunities, poverty, all of these kind of problems that were happening in Jamaica. So the Rastafarians, they wanted to be kind of was separate from the system that was oppressing the people. Rastafari is very anti-system, systematic movement. Yeah. So they wanted to be separate, and they were saying that we don't want to be part of your system, and we want to look towards going back to Africa, because that's where we came from. So we want to look towards repatriation and building a strong African nation. And we want to start retaining a lot, looking to our African culture and our heritage. Because during that time, you cannot say, and even today, you cannot say to a lot of people in Jamaica that you're African. Yeah, they will reject it. They will say, "Well, I was never born in Africa." This, that, and the other. I said they look at Africa in a very negative light. So all like the reggae artists that you see coming to Gambia, all like Jamaicans that you see coming to Gambia, or Jamaicans from that live in England, or people from England who are Rastafarian or Jamaican, or people like myself that are coming here. A lot of that is pretty much all inspired by the Rastafari movement. Because if it wasn't for Rastafari, or if a lot of people wouldn't even be thinking about Africa. Yeah. So it's a very important movement. So now going on into the Rastafari movement a bit more. There's different groups within Rastafari as well. So it's not just Rastafari. Just like how in Islam you have different sects, there's loads of different groups and branches. There's different sects in Rastafari as well. The one thing I do want to be clear is Rastafari is not a religion. It is a Pan-African Black Power movement, which does have a sense of African spirituality, but it's not a religion in a sense. So we don't pray. We hang up Emperor Selassie, we praise him for what he's done, but we don't sit down and worship him. Yeah, so it's not that concept. But I mean, I would respect someone else. Like I still, even though Haile Selassie to us is our Messiah, or I would say he's our personal savior, we still acknowledge people. Someone might look at, say, Nelson Mandela in that light, or someone might look at Robert Mugabe or Kwame Nkrumah in that light, and we still look at other African leaders and acknowledge the achievements that they've done as well. But it's just that we pay the significance of Haile Selassie for someone that came along at a crucial time in African history, when African people definitely needed it. And going back into the works of Haile Selassie, he was very important because he's someone that turned his university, his palace, into a university to educate people. He used to give money for people that were in schools like yourself, for them to get books and to get education. When people used to go to hospital, he used to pay for their hospital treatment. This is just local people. During Haile Selassie's time, hundreds of schools were open in Ethiopia. So he helped modernize it. He gave Ethiopia his first airlines. And some would even praise, I think, the people know Nelson Mandela here? Nelson Mandela? A lot of people have think quite highly of Nelson Mandela. Regardless of what you think of Nelson Mandela, when Nelson Mandela was exiled from South Africa, he went into Ethiopia, and it's Haile Selassie's military that trained him in his military. They gave him a passport because he was chased out of South Africa. They gave him a passport so he could get back into South Africa, and he also gave him a gun to take down the apartheid regime as well. Yeah. So other things he did was set up the Organization of African Union, or the African Union. Everyone said African Union. So the African Union, it was precursors, basically the Organization of African Unity. And that was set up in 1963 by Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah, who was the president of Ghana. And it's now called the African Union. It's renamed. They've got a statue of Haile Selassie in Ethiopia now. Haile Selassie was the first person, obviously he was the founder, but he was also the first president of the Organization of African Unity. And the African Unity was brought to help to end colonialism, and then to really bring forward that message of Pan-Africanism, that African people should come together politically, economically, culturally. So it's better for us to come together as one rather than work towards individual. especially in the context if you look at what was happening at the time and now. When you look at, say, for example, the fight against European colonialism, and even if you look at, say, I know Europe is coming like the EU now, but if you look at, say, how Europe is united together, it's important that Africa unites because there is a lot of things in place that are trying to keep Africa backwards, whether it's the Europeans, the Arabs, the Chinese coming out there with investment. So it's very important that the African people do stick together. Another organisation that we brought up was the United Economic Commission of Africa, which was headquarters in Ethiopia. That was a more economic organisation, and that organisation was to help the economic situation of the African countries. Yeah. So a lot of the works that Emperor Haile Selassie did is what makes him a significant figure, a significant emperor in world history. And even one thing that he did when he was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia in 1930, he was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia with his wife, Empress Menen. Now, until that time, when someone's emperor, they normally got crowned, especially if they're male, they're normally crowned just as an emperor on their own as a male. But when Haile Selassie was emperor, he made sure that he was emperor with his wife to address that there's a balance that men and women are equal, and that women are not below par of a man. That to address that balance. And in Rastafari, there's a balance between a male and a female. Yeah, which is that balance, which is there. So going now on to say the 70s, and I think I'll give you a bit of a context of Rastafari in Jamaica. Now, how Rastafari is significant in England is that in Jamaica, a lot of our parents and grandparents, like my grandparents, they came from Jamaica to England during the Windrush generation, which was between 1948 to basically 1970, yeah, and then we were born in England after that. Now the reason they came was because of World War II, as I mentioned, between Italy and Germany, and because of World War II, England was in a very bad state, similar to how Ethiopia was after the Italian War. Because they had a war, they'd been bombed, they needed a labour force, so they invited people from the Commonwealth to come to England. So a lot of people from the Caribbean came to England during this time. For a better life, because the life that they had in the Caribbean was hard. So they came along to England. So some of them brought that, obviously, some of them brought Rastafari into England through coming over. Now, during the time that people came to England, the people from Jamaica, they weren't very welcome in England. So it was common to go on the streets and say, like, if you're a black person, to not be able to get rent in the room, it'd be like, no black people, no dogs, no Irish. Or they used to attack black people in the streets in England. Yeah. So a lot of people I know thinking down with think, or like the streets of England are paved with gold. It's not like, certainly not back in the 60s and the 70s. It was definitely not like that. And black people used to have to walk around in groups a lot of times to avoid being attacked in England. And there was a lot of racial discrimination against black people. Even it still goes into this day to some levels, which is more institutionalized today. But even like the racism in terms of you can't get a job, yeah, that kind of thing. Certainly, if you're Rastafarian wears agendas, you can't get a job. You might not be able to fly on a plane. That kind of stuff. Now, the persecution in England of what happened, or what they were experiencing. The children of the first generation that came to England, they started to rebel. The first generation that came to England, like say my grandparents' generation, they were a lot more kind of humble because they were coming into another country. But the second generation, they started to fight, and they started to have riots, and they started to rebel because it was like, this is not right the way that we're being treated here. And what really gave spurs to Rastafari was that because it is a movement that really focuses on identity and black nationalism, is it gave them an identity to look towards. Yeah, because they couldn't say that they wasn't born in Jamaica, so they weren't like fully Jamaican, but they weren't, even though they were born in England, they couldn't really say the English either because England was a racist country and then it was separate. Yeah? So Rastafari did offer that identity and that black nationalism, sense of black nationalism along with spirituality. Because people in England were doing the same thing as in Jamaica. A lot of the grandparents that came through, they had British values, worshipping the King of England, the royal family, white Jesus, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah? So that what Rastafari did was brought a voice of change. So then people started to change and start to think slightly differently, have more respect for themselves. And everywhere in England, in every major city, there was like large groups of, anywhere there was a major black city, whether it was London, Manchester, Birmingham, there was a predominantly a lot of Rastafarians. So pretty much everywhere you go, everywhere you went in England, where there was black people, there's a high proportion of Rastafarians. Now, even though a lot of the parents disowned them, or the children cut them out of the house, it was very, very difficult at that time because their parents were still very much in that British colonial mentality. And the persecution of Rastafarians has happened not just in England, but even going back to, say, Jamaica. When Rastafari movement started, up until now, it's still facing a lot of persecution. So even when it started, before they even had dreadlocks, it's like the government, they wanted to stop the movement because they saw it as a movement against trying to really break away from the system. So a lot of the founding fathers of the Rastafari movement were put in prison, and Ned Howell was the first founder of Rastafari. He was put in prison, and he was also put in Bellevue mental asylum because they were trying to stop the Rastafari movement from spreading because they thought that it would liberate the people in the country to start doing it for self and being self-sufficient. So even throughout like the 60s and the 70s, if like for example we were walking down the road, just walking down the road, see someone walking down the road with dreadlocks, a lot of Rastafarians couldn't walk in the street like this. They would have to go and live in the hills, or they'd have to go in the gully, or up in Jamaica you have hills and go live in the hills. Because if you see Rastafarians in the street, people try to beat them up, attack them, they used to call them Dirty Rasta, Black Art Man, all these kinds of things, because they were bringing something different than what their parents or what their society was teaching them at the time. And the majority of the people in Jamaica the majority of Jamaica is a Christian country. Now Rastafari is about a quarter of the population, but certainly at the time, things have changed now, it's a lot more light, but certainly back then, for example, because Rastafari were coming away from Christianity, they was really persecuted as well. One, for coming away from Christianity, two, for promoting the African doctrine, and three, for really being anti-systematic. So a lot of persecution happened. I mean, even in one time in Jamaica, in 1963, there was an incident called the Coral Gardens incident, where the Prime Minister at the time, he said, bring in all Rastas, dead or alive. So anywhere you see a Rasta man, the government, the police will go after him and bring him in prison. Or even if he was an ordinary citizen, they'll beat Rasta, bring him into prison, and if they didn't bring him into prison, they'll throw him in a cemetery, or they'll kill him. That's the kind of persecution that Rastafari went through over the years. That's they tried to stop it from liberating the minds of African people, which has happened. I mean, I think on the continent, I think Rastafari now it is spreading. It's not as popular in England as it used to be. I think that's down to more integration happening in England now. I think it used to be a lot more segregated. There's a lot more integration and there's less face-on-face racism. It's more institutionalized. So I think a lot of you don't take to as much as they used to. Also, there's also the understanding of it that's come down. A lot of people don't have the full understanding of it. In Jamaica, it's still quite popular. In Africa, parts of Africa, I think it still is increasing. And I think the popularity of it will continue to grow. As well, this is why I read that books that myself, Ryan Rastafari. This is my book that I read. If I was to sum up Rastafari in 3 words, which is what my publisher told me to do when writing a subtitle in his book, I said resistance, redemption, and repatriation. The reason why it's resistance was the Rastafaris and Jamaican people, the people that fought to get independence, not just through slavery, but also Jamaican people, also Rastafari were resisting against the British colonial system that was oppressing the people people in Jamaica and in England. Redemption, that is about reclaiming the African heritage and African spirituality, and also starting to see Africa in a different light, see your brothers on the continent, or people on the continent as your brothers and sisters. And repatriation, that's the ultimate goal of Rastafari, is to go, particularly for us in the diaspora, is to go back to Africa and to help build Africa it's not saying it isn't already, but to help to build the development of Africa as a prosperous continent where it's self-sufficient, where it doesn't have to rely on white people from Europe or people from Arabia to be independent. And even in the Gambia, there's loads of us that are doing great work there. Some of us are the division of Rastafari. One of my friends are Rastafarians. They have built a school in Namin, which that's under the division of Rastafari, and it's a self-funded school, and they feed the people there, they educate them, etc. All from funding. But there's also, we know people that are here that have got restaurants, hotels, that's non-profit organisations, people that donate books, that do health work and all of that. So there's a lot of great works that people are doing. Even if those, for example, are not Rastafarians, but they're just coming from the diaspora, they would have been influenced at some point, even if they're not Rastafarians, by the Rastafari movement. That would have definitely impacted their life. I myself as well, whilst I'm here, I want to be doing a documentary highlighting the works of the people that are here in the diaspora that I know. For example, ones that have got hospitals, businesses that are helping, so people can see the impact as well that people in the diaspora are making, because that's also important, so people know that when we do come here, we're not coming here just to go and have a holiday. We're not like what the white Europeans that just come here to have a holiday, etc. The things that are happening here, there's development that's being done by the people in the diaspora, and it's important that that's highlighted, not just towards the people in the diaspora, but also the people on the continent as well, that you see the development and the work is being done. And also that can encourage more people to go to Africa, because the majority of people that come to Africa are in some kind of black consciousness, whereas the majority of people who talk to them in England or America about coming to Africa, they'll rather go to Europe or America or the Caribbean, or they're still looking very negative. So it's to say that we should be looking towards coming back to Africa, here's what people are doing, we can do this. And even if it's in Eastern holidays, it starts something, they can come here and they can fall in love with Africa. But, yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
My first question is, in the past I used to have about things about Selassie. They say the connection, he's from Ethiopia. So what connection did he have with Jamaica that makes, him to be that movement?
Okay, so the connection that he had with Jamaica was, they were coming out of slavery, because the people in Jamaica were worshipping, a white image of Christ, or like any kind of the martyrs or heroes they were looking at, or any people that they were looking at to hold power was white, So until this time, Jamaica is different than, say, Africa, where they've had the kings and kingdoms, because people were taken there, so there's not like kings and kings in Jamaica, So until 1930, black people in Jamaica had never seen a black king. So the fact that Emperor Haile Selassie was king, now obviously we know that there's black kings that have come before Emperor Haile Selassie, but the importance was that at that specific moment, at that specific time, that was the importance that one, it was a black king that they'd never seen before. Two, it was a black king of an independent nation during the time all of Africa was colonized. So so that was significant as well. Then there was other things that were significant. Also during the time of what was happening to Jamaican people, in terms of their identity and Pan-Africanism, the rise of Pan-Africanism at the moment through people like Marcus Garvey, and I mentioned earlier, was the one that said that they need to look towards Ethiopia for black people to be proud. Now Marcus Garvey was born in Jamaica, Jamaica's first national hero. He was born in Jamaica, and he was saying that black people need to go back to Africa. He brought the Black Star Line, a steamship company, to take African people back to African people in Jamaica and the diaspora back to Africa. So the Back to Africa movement was really the birth before the Rastafari movement. So the Back to Africa movement, and when Garvey was saying that this person is the person we need to look towards as black people instead of any king from Europe. Yeah, that was the significance of it. The significance is that it's certainly in the 40s, if you go into people's houses in England, in the Caribbean, you would see a white picture of Jesus and a white picture of King George IV. That would be in their worship. So the importance was to see an African, a black image of yourself, to acknowledge that divinity within ourselves as African people. That was the significance of Haile Selassie and the significance of the link between Ethiopia and Jamaica.
What inspires you to write?
Inspired me to write this book. Okay, so I touched on it earlier. One of the misconceptions, so one of the pointed out earlier, is the dreadlocks. So you can go, I can take you to Jamaica now, England, and I can show you Rastafarians, like myself, we don't have dreadlocks. Yeah? One of the misconceptions to highlight the philosophy of Rastafari, but the problem with Rastafari is those people are aware of the culture aspect of it, yeah? But they don't understand like the philosophy of Rastafari, yeah? Or what it actually is, yeah, as a movement. So like when I said to you, I came in and I said it's a Pan-African movement, I said before, people like out in the Gambian, so the lots of things that's Rastafari, right? So it was really, and it does happen to in England and America. I say in the world it happens. In Gambia it happens quite a little bit more, but yeah, so it was to get rid of some of those misconceptions that people have about Rastafari. So it could be dreadlocks, for example. There's one, as I mentioned, the founding fathers of the Rastafari movement didn't have dreadlocks. Yeah? This came later down the line. Even like the smoking ganja, that's smoking weed, yeah? A lot of Rastafarians don't smoke weed, smoke ganja. It's not to be honest, you have to smoke ganja, and it's not like, if you are smoking ganja, it's not like you just go out on the road and you do it. It's like, you do it for spiritual practice, yeah? So it's not, and ganja was really, how ganja came into Rastafari was that after slavery, the indentured Indians came to Jamaica, and they brought the ganja into Jamaica, they disseminated it into the land. So, and Leonard Howell, he was the first founder of the Rastafari movement. A lot of his friends were Indians, yeah, because there's quite a lot of Indians in Jamaica, so a lot of his friends were Indians, and they really brought the weed in, and they carried through. And then they started the Rastafari. They sold it to make money. They used it as a profit, and they used to equate in their food, and they used to use it for like medical reason and herbs. But it wasn't just to go out on the road and smoke. But it's not something again which is attached to Rastafari, like vegetarianism, yeah. I thought that how Rastafari started, it wasn't about being a vegetarian. It was like that came later as Rastafari started living in the hills, where it's not like you've got to go to the shop and get food. They just started growing their own food on the land, yeah. So that came in a different way. So it's really to get rid of some of the misconceptions, but also to bring part of the philosophy. The main foundation of Rastafari is that it is a black nationalist Pan-African movement, yeah, that is based on African spiritual people that accept Emperor Haile Selassie as the black redeemer, they're saying, not from a religious perspective, but from a sense of, from a Pan-African perspective, of the significance of what he's done and what he means as a symbolism of independence and freedom for African people, to build for African people, to build a nation where they're self-sufficient and independent, where they don't have to rely on the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund or NGOs from Europe and all of this kind of stuff. That was the main concept of Rastafari. But the message that's portrayed, I mean, even like reggae music, which is popular here, reggae music has been good and bad. It's been good because it's helped propagate the message of Rastafari, and it can start people's interest into it. But then, if people don't, for example, maybe don't listen to lyrics, if people, an artist is an artist. So even say Bob Marley, yeah? Bob Marley is probably one of those people that people know was associated with Rastafari, yeah? Bob Marley is not a leader of Rastafari, so what Bob Marley says is not crystal enough. He's just another Rastafarian. Yeah, that's how we look at Bob Marley. We respect the work that he does as a music artist, but he doesn't have any extra weight above it, rather because there's different leaders in Rastafari that hold a lot more weight than Bob Marley. So the music, for example, even like there's a popular song, Bob Marley, have you heard that song One Love? Yeah. It's a very popular song, and often even like with reggae, what's happened is that it's Rastafari when it first started was a lot more militant, was a lot more anti-white supremacy, like anti-white supremacy. Now it's like, for example, push this image more of kind of one love and peace, let's get together and be alright. Yeah? And well, I think Bob Marley was really twisted by the media because his more militant side that he had, stance, yeah, was not often reflected in the media, but they often portrayed that the Bob Marley of, yeah, let's all come together, black or white, one love, unite and everything. And that's what they do in Jamaica when a lot of people want to go on holiday. And they exploit Rastafari and Jamaican culture to get money out of tourists by promoting that whole one love message. But that's helped to kind of water it down. I think that's really watered down the message of Rastafari. In various different aspects. So I think reggae music had a mixed expression. And even if you look at a lot of reggae artists, it's good some of the messages that they say, but then some of the reggae artists, when you look at what they're doing and what they're saying, or if they're doing, like for example, if they're living what they're saying, or I can see contradictions in some of the artists. They might have certain tracks there, but they might have another track which is slap. Or how serious are they in terms of repatriating to Africa? They've got the money and stuff to do that. Why they're not here? But that is repatriating to Africa is one of the main pillars of Rastafari. It's the ultimate goal of Rastafari. So there's things like that. Yeah. Does anyone? Okay.
Yeah, I have one question. Like, yeah, in the country we have the Rastafari, we eat meat, so why?
Okay, so again, that's not something that all Rastafarians do. So you have different houses and different mansions, yeah. So mansions like the Bomba Shanty don't eat meat, yeah, and a lot of Nigerians don't. The reason why Rastafarians don't eat meat, as I said before, is because in Jamaica, when they live in the hills, yeah, because of the persecution, a lot of them went to go live in the hills or live in their own communities, yeah. Now, if you had to kill you have to kill an animal to eat an animal. Yeah. So a lot of them didn't want to kill an animal because of that. No, that's what it's killing, isn't it? It's killing. So what they just grew their own food, and also it was self-sufficient and independent as well. So a lot of them didn't want to go to that. It was not like you don't want to go to supermarket or these kind of shops to spend your money. So people would plant their own like herbs and own vegetables in where they are, and they'll grow their own food. So it was a part of being self-sufficient as well. So it's really like self-sufficiency, along with not wanting to actually to kill an animal, and based on obviously the environment that they were living. Like, so you see, more Rastafarians that live in more kind of like town areas, you find more of them that will eat meat. Yeah. Also, but I said before, it does depend on the house and the mansion, because if you have a group like 12 tribes in Israel, yeah, they eat meat. Yeah. A lot of them don't have locks. So it depends. There are a lot of Rastafarians who do eat meat. But I would say the majority don't. But it does depend. Also, there's biblical interpretation. Because something which I haven't mentioned, because I didn't really want to get into like the religious side of things, because how I understand Rastafari, I see it as a black power movement, yeah. However, there's also ones that look at it as a religious perspective, yeah, that use the Bible to validate Haile Selassie. So they use references in the Bible. Now, in the Bible, it tells them the dietary laws in the Old Testament, yeah, which is not to eat meat and not to eat pork. Yeah, so a lot of them adapted those dietary laws from the Old Testament. Even down to the dreadlocks. Now I mentioned the dreadlocks came from the Mau Mau warriors who fight the Kenyans, but there's also the validation that comes through Rastafarians who read the Bible, that because the Nazarenes, the people that were following Jesus, didn't had dreadlocks. That's why a lot of them grew their hair like that as well. So Rastafari has got, there's many different aspects of it. It's not just one thing where everyone does the same thing. That's the point. There will be one Rasta man. You speak to 10 Rastafarians, you may get a different response. There'll be one man who reads the Bible and will literally look at Haile Selassie and say that he is God directly. Yeah? There'll be another Rasta man, like myself, who will not read the Bible, who will recognize the works that Haile Selassie did, and will look at his Pan-African Black Power movement. Then you'll have another Rasta man who's got maybe a little bit of a different perspective. So it's like, just like you have, I said, in Islam or Christianity or whatever, there's different ideologies and different thought patterns within it. It's not, and because Rastafari didn't originate in one central doctrine, it's not like there's a priest or imam that everyone goes to. So it's like I could go to Nigeria now, and people, because Rastafari springs all over the place, so someone could set up a camp in Nigeria, call themselves Rastafarians, and they've got some of the concepts of like the common concepts that Rastafarians have, but they've just set up so I'm sure there is, like I go to South Africa, Nigeria, and there'll just be separate sects of Rastafarians I've never heard before. Yeah, because it just springs up like that, and so by that happening, there's going to be people who are going to be they're going to have things which are slightly different than the other groups. Naturally. Yeah.
Yes, with the existence of this movement, Rastafari movement in Jamaica. Today, how does the Jamaican people look Africa?
How does Jamaican people
look Africa today? Because before,
if it wasn't for Rastafari, Rastafari in the world has been the saviour for Jamaica. I would say it's Jamaica's gift to the world, because the contribution, what he's done is so much. Because even I mentioned that name, Marcus Garvey. Yeah, many people would not know, particularly in the diaspora. Many people knew Marcus Garvey because of Rastafari. Because Rastafari always talk about Marcus Garvey, about the works of him, and they hold him up as a prophet. So even if you look at, say, Marcus Garvey in Jamaica, like in say the 60s and 70s, the only thing, even though he was a Jamaican national hero, he just had like a picture on an exercise book of Marcus Garvey, and that was it. So it's Rastafari that put the Marcus Garvey's teachings back into the schools, that put Emancipation Day back on the calendar. In Jamaica now, people are starting to look at Africa in a different light, but that's solely down to the Rastafari movement. If there wasn't for Rastafari, people in Jamaica, they would still be looking at Africa well, some people still look at Africa like they would still be looking at Africa as in Africa's backwards, it's this, that, the other, it's savagery. So it's, as I said, things have got, and the persecution of Rastafari now is not where it used to be. So Rastafarians now are generally kind of accepted in Jamaica, where you can go to the street and people see Rastas or whatever, and it's fine. It's not like how it used to be in like the 60s and the 70s, where they were persecuted. So, but it took time, obviously, to get to that kind of stage. But I would say now there's more consciousness towards Africa within people of Jamaica, but as a result of the Rastafari movement, and not just in Jamaica, but also in England as well, because obviously the Rastafari, particularly in the 70s and the 80s, was the main sense of black consciousness, not just in Jamaica, but in England as well. So the role that he's played, particularly in Jamaica and England, have been phenomenal.